My sister in the distance marriage.
Yes, so hey, God, I beg.
Sometimes women, we go through a lot of phases, right, in our lives, and we get married, we're all excited to get married, and then boom, it's like, okay, I have to travel, or the spouse has to travel, I have to stay behind for one reason or another. And I know you experienced that too. In my own case, I've been in distant marriage, being a distant marriage for close to, I believe, 14 years plus now. I know, and I know you experienced something similar to that, like 8 months, but it's still the same kind of challenges, And I want you to kind of give me, what did you do? Give me some tips. Maybe I can even learn from you.
Honestly, it was hard. It was hard, and at the beginning, we fought a lot.
Oh man!
Because I felt like he was in a better place, better country, enjoying things enjoying civilization. Yeah, so at the very beginning, it affected our communication. I used to feel like in this pity zone, like me, I'm the one suffering. But then, thank God for communication. We had like a very vulnerable and honest communication. And I realized that the same loneliness I feel,
he was also feeling the same
need for companion that I feel is the same thing he feels. So I now started to see it as a we're in this thing together kind of perspective.
So we got to work it out.
I stopped seeing it as, it's just me that is suffering in Nigeria and he's enjoying. So I started to see like we're in this together. He wants me to be with him as much as I want to be with him as well. So at the point where I realized that our communication became better, and it made it sort of like easier for me to like go through the entire journey. But overall, emotionally and mentally, it was exhausting. Waiting can be very, very hard. Waiting is very hard. But at the core of my waiting, I trusted God so much on this particular matter.
I love that. You know what? Let's even wait for that. So 8 months, my own case 14 years, but you see, togetherness. We are in this together. That's where some people miss it. Talking about the God factor, I want to shed some light on that. How did you see God show up for you, even in that lonely state? However, you were never alone because you had God, you being a Christian. How did you experience that practical manifestation of God being with you in that moment?
Okay, so I would like to take it from the angle of the growth I experienced. So I like to say that.
I love that.
I like to say that when I think about my distance marriage, the joy for me is not necessarily that I'm now with my husband. Getting my visa, the material thing, getting my visa is not why I'm so grateful for the journey, but the way I grew in terms of trusting God. In future trying times, I can always look back at that situation and remember that I trusted God at that time.
It came true.
Yes, He's not going to change. God doesn't change.
Exactly.
The fact that you trust God or you are waiting for something and you are holding on to God doesn't mean that you don't feel the emotional need of you need your partner, or it doesn't mean that you won't cry on some days. It doesn't mean that you won't feel the pain. We are human. We'll feel the pain. We might even worry sometimes. But see, there's nothing that can shake off that reality for me, that I can worry, I can be sad, but I trust God. I knew that my situation wasn't going to be like that forever.
Exactly.
One day, I would join my husband. So I really, really trusted God on that, and it came true for me.
Love it.
Yeah.
So if you're going through a trying time as a spiritual being, you cannot say, you know what, God, you just chill first. Let me figure out my thing myself. And trusting in God is the number one. And that's what sustained me for 14 plus years, 15 plus years. Trust, I'm telling you, and you said something. Yes, now my husband, and during that time, it's not like I said my husband was all the way in Nigeria just then I was here. Okay. He used to come visit. Okay. Right? But yes, we have not made up our mind that, okay, you know what, because there were some reasons beyond our control. Okay, it just so happened that, okay, we are distant couples, we live in different countries. However, we're still very, very married, like very together. And then people used to think, like, are you crazy? Like, what do you mean? There's no marriage there. Your husband is there, you're here. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, girl, boo, I tell you. We had our ups and downs. Emotional pain. He had his own emotional trying times. I did too, but God kept us together, because there's something that trusting in God does.
Yes.
It builds you up spiritually and personally.
Yes.
Trusting in God pays any day, anytime. So what else did this distance do for you?
So I don't know if this can sound right, but there's advantage of distance, that privacy. Like when I'm just in the house, I can pray on the top of my voice. I can worship at the top of my voice. But when you are with your partner, you want to do when you guys are not like
sometimes,
praying together,
yes.
like when it's just, you can't
Just
at
be
the
going.
same pitch, you can't do it at that same pitch.
Yeah.
Another thing that I'll say that my long distance marriage helped me personally was that I was involved in things that in my career. I didn't just stay in a pity mode and not, when people invite me for events, maybe a speaking engagement, I'll go for it. When brands reach out to me to make content, I was in those months of waiting. I would say that was
productive.
Like, I was so productive. Yeah, that's what my productivity level increased, and I think that's because my partner was also supporting me, even while he was away. If I get, for example, if I get an email and I run it by him that this brand wants to work with me, he won't discourage me. And I think in retrospect, I think he was also doing that because he didn't want me to just be in a
PTM state.
Yes, he wanted me to be hands-on, involved in things that would make me happy, things I'm passionate about. So he didn't discourage me. I was productive.
Awesome.
Yes, and that really helped me. That gave me a lot of discipline because the way my own part of my work works, brand influencing. If you don't put yourself out there,
nobody's
more brands
will
notice you. Yes, more brands will not notice you. So me being productive in that period of waiting, putting out content, working with people, made my visibility even more. Yeah. And even now that I'm here in Canada, more brands are still like reaching out to me. So it's a result of what I did during my period of waiting.
See, so that's why the Bible says every light affliction is but for a moment.
Yeah.
It produces a greater level of glory. Yes. And I can relate with that because for me, I believe for the first few years, it was tough. Getting to understand that okay, maybe this moment is a moment in time for me to grow personally, to grow spiritually, to grow professionally, and to become very productive. It took me a while to understand that. So lucky you, I'm glad you understood it very quick, which is great. It took me a while because I was still maybe in La La Land, hoping that okay, very soon we're gonna be living together, everything's gonna be sweet. So, and I was torn between should I go? Maybe I'll go back to Nigeria at some point. So maybe just enjoy Canada, enjoy after everything is sorted out. Let's pack my bag and baggages and go back to Nigeria. But there's something in me. I don't give up easily. And I always believe there's a way out for something to work. So it made me now begin to look inward and say, okay, who am I in this Canada now? Okay, my husband is in Nigeria, I get that. But is that something that I'm supposed to be doing right now? And then I began to wake up into that understanding that, okay, this moment is for a purpose. This loneliness can be converted to gain if only I can direct it well. And boom, as you said, productivity, same result. Let's talk about the downside to it. Okay. I've been on this thing for the longest time. I knew people who started out when I started on the marriage didn't make it. The marriage didn't make it because yes, maybe the man just felt, you know what, let me move on. Or maybe the woman said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. Because there are a lot of things that come with it. You're lonely, you're a woman, you have your own needs. Yeah. Other than just, okay, I'm taking care of children, but you have your own personal needs that are legitimate. We have our moments in the months where our body is jiggy. Our body is jiggy. Yeah, these are personal, deep conversations, right? Say it as shallow as you can say it. What were you doing that time? How were you? Were you calling your husband and being vulnerable, like, oh, I miss you, I want this. What were you doing?
Yes, so me, I'll say it as it is. We would communicate. I think what really helped us in long distance, in every aspect, sexual aspect, financial aspect, emotional, communication. Like, you can't hide from this person. The way it is in your mind, say it out, communicate in the most vulnerable way you can. So if I need sexual, whatever, I always say, I miss you. So I was very open with it. But what will I do? I cannot go and sleep with that man. Exactly. I go hold body on me. I go hold body, but I go talk and say, guy, I miss you. Yeah.
They do some things, and that's true. Communication.
Yes.
Lord, don't put yourself in a place where you become so vulnerable and you cannot help the moment. So yes, while you feel that, I feel like my guy, make the phone call, let him know how you feel. Yeah. Like, communicate. Sometimes, especially when you've been on the journey for a long time, it becomes okay. Maybe somehow there is a way you kind of just adjust. Like, you know what? It's okay. I don't know if I'm going to feel like this because it's not your enemies. Let me keep it in my pockets. But when it comes, make sure you are ready. Do you understand? Because that could be your way of protecting yourself in that moment. Because if you're lying down and crying, oh, my husband, I want to do this, I want to do that, he's not here, it can lead you to temptation. So for me, it got to a point, I'm like, okay, he's not here. That's a fact. So can you maybe park that in the parking lot for now? When he comes, we'll pick up that car from the parking lot and we'll drive that car.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And that helps me. Being vulnerable to him, letting him know how I feel, but making sure that I'm also protecting myself from that exposure. Yes, and from that temptation too, because I have seen a lot happen with distant marriages. So it's an amazing journey. I would say distant marriage, it's not easy, it's not a walk in the park. There are a lot of us who did not plan for it, but we found ourselves in it, but we decided to make the best out of it. People mocked us, people laughed at us, people looked down on us.
People made speculations.
We're like, crazy, what are you doing? But those same people now are kind of taking the same route, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so we have found, it's becoming the norm now.
It's sad, but
it's becoming the norm. And I wouldn't really say it's sad. I think it's an opportunity for both of you to become whole.
Yes.
And then hold together, because a lot of us run into marriage without even knowing who we are. That's why some people that live with their husband, they even have too many issues, even living with the husband, because they don't know who they are. The man doesn't know who he is, and there's so much tension. But the distant marriage is an opportunity for the husband and wife to become whole separately, so that when they come together, they can be whole. It is possible, it is doable, and the marriage can still be together, trusting in the power of the Almighty God.